Today, I'm going to show you how to get shots like this with a camera phone. You'd think getting smooth and silky waterfall shots would be reserved for those who have really expensive cameras. But this is far from the truth, especially with smartphones that we have nowadays. I do have both an iPhone and an Android phone, so no matter what phone you have, you should be able to get a similar shot to what I got and to what I showed you earlier. Mobile phones have come on so much in the past few years, and this is a really easy way to get some cool looking, smooth waterfalls. Now, when you take a photo of a waterfall with your camera phone, it'll usually look like this. The shutter speed will be so fast that it will freeze the water movement, especially in the middle of the day, but there are a few hidden features in both of these phones to help you get blurry water in your shots. So I'll start with the iPhone, and all you'll need is an iPhone with the live photo mode, which was introduced in, I think, iOS 9, so back when the iPhone S6 was released. Click on the circle at the top of the screen, which turns this live mode feature on. Next, you need to keep the phone as still as possible. If you can brace it against a tree, this is good, but if not, just keep your hands as still as possible. If you do have a tripod, this is great, but it's not necessary. Just make sure you haven't drunk too much coffee and you've got the coffee shakes, as this will blur your shot. The best thing is to take a few shots of the waterfall and then check them out. The ones with the smallest amount of movement from your hands will be the ones that'll work the best. As in live mode, it does quickly run through the shots in each live mode sequence as you swipe to those photos. And if you are struggling to keep your phone steady, turn on the self-timer mode. This will mean you can press the shutter button and then brace the camera, hold it steady whilst it takes the shot. I do seem to get better results when I'm doing this. Now, to get to the hidden features, all you do is swipe up. This will give you access to live, loop, bounce, and long exposure. So just pick long exposure. Then it will blend together all of the frames it took for the live view. This will blur the movement of that water. Now, the downside to this mode is that if you move your hands at all, you will end up with a blurred shot. So the water will be blurry, but everything else in the shot will be blurry as well. So this is where you need to keep your phone as still as you possibly can, so only the water will become blurred. Now, if you really want to keep the camera steady, just get it on a tripod. It doesn't have to be anything big. Something like this with a phone holder on it works perfectly. This combined with the self-timer does work really well, and you can keep your camera perfectly steady. Next, I'll do the same with an Android phone. And I have the Huawei P30 Pro. Now, I don't have a preference between these two phones in general, but for this kind of shot, my P30 Pro gives a much better photo when I'm shooting handheld. Open up your camera and select more in the options along the bottom. In this, click on light painting. We're not light painting, and it's a bit of a weird setting that they've put this smooth water setting in, but this is where it's kept for some reason. Once you've selected light painting, you'll have 4 options: traffic trails, light graffiti, silky water, or star trails. Obviously pick silky water. Select the focal length you want by zooming in or out, and then take the shot. Again, you want to keep the camera as still as possible, but it's not so important with the Huawei P30 Pro. If you just want to blur the water a little, just press to open the shutter, keep it open for a second, and then press it again to close the shutter. Whereas if you want to make it look more misty and smoother, keep the shutter open for longer. This just means pressing that shutter, holding your phone as still as possible, and keeping it there for a while, and then pressing the shutter button again. You can really play around with this, and it gives you a lot of options to get the water looking exactly how you want it. The shorter it is, the crispier the water will look. And the longer that exposure is, so basically the longer you press it, and then wait, and then press it again, the smoother the water will be. Again, just remember to keep the phone as still as you possibly can. Now, these camera phones are getting smarter and smarter. And if you want to learn how to photograph the stars and even the Milky Way with your camera phone, you have to watch this video next. I'll see you next time.